I finally did it. I went ahead and made a purchase on the OMNILUX Contour. I chose this for a few different reasons. The main one being it seems like this has the most amount of red lights at the right frequencies, and it is flat because I plan to go rogue and not only use this on my face, but I have a scar on my leg, and I'm gonna see if it helps with the scarring. It doesn't claim to do anything like that, but red light therapy has been known to help. So let's unbox this and see what she looks like. Oh wow, I think I'm gonna have to give her a name. Let me zoom out just a tiny bit here. Okay, that's really nice. There's the plug-in that is attached to it. Comes with a quick step-by-step guide. This was something I was completely unaware of. It comes with all the different plug-ins for different countries, so you'll never have to be without it if you are a world traveler. It also has, I believe this is the remote control. This looks like the actual plug-in setup. Yep, that's it. So they all can go onto there. And then I believe it comes with, let's get this back in there, the user guide, and then a nice little dust bag. All right, guys, I did a little bit of before video and pictures, so I will plug those all in and then we're gonna start this up.
Here I am in natural light. I am trying to show as clear as possible everything I'm dealing with. I do have some spots and a pretty strong looking wrinkle on my forehead that is from sleeping while I was injured. Now, I do have a lot going on with my face right now, but I do have to take note. This is September of 2025 after a very long, hot summer. I live in a very warm, sunny climate, and I had gone to the beach several times, spent a lot of time at pools and outdoor parties. So my skin is always going to look a little bit rough at the end of summer from sun damage and just not being able to control a little bit of sunburn and dehydration, things like that, when it's over 100 degrees on the regular. So that is something to keep in mind with my particular skin. And then this process basically went over the winter time when I stay inside. I stay as hydrated as possible and I'm not in the sun pretty much at all through the winter. And I think that does make a difference.
First impressions on this, it kind of feels heavy hanging off your head, so I don't know if you can tell, but I had to kind of pull the strap over my head so that it actually kind of cradles it and sits on it. These lights are blinding when you first get started. So I had to go lay down and close my eyes, but I could still feel the red light like going through my eyelids, and it's kind of freaking me out, to be honest. You can clearly see that it's going to do a number on your hair. So fair warning on that. If you're going to try to do it right before an event or something, just be warned that your hair is going to get a little crazy. And I'll turn it on again. I already did my 10 minutes. It actually went surprisingly fast, but I'm going to turn it back on again just so you can see the light. Woo! Okay. Yeah, it really is kind of wild. I don't know that I could walk around and get errands run or anything with this light because it literally just feels crazy on my eyes. I may be the type that needs to get something to cover my actual eyelids. I'm not real sure. But, it went fast. And like I said, I'm going to go a little bit rogue and I'm actually going to lay this on a part of my leg. Don't know if that's a good idea or a bad idea, but I want to see what it does to a scar.
Here is the scar in question. It is actually very deep and it's a really old scar, so I don't have too many high hopes for it. I just want to see if it will lighten up a little bit or look a little bit healthier. I was able to wrap it around my leg so that I could hold it up, but in truth, it just was easier to lay it flat on there. 6-month check-in. I started this process in September 2025. It is now March 2026. I am going to give you the major disclaimer. I used it what I would call real life for myself. I did not have a super regimented schedule. When I first got it, I was very consistent, used it kind of like every other day. Then like holidays hit and I got a little sporadic. Then I would jump back on the wagon and use it like almost every day. And then something would happen with life and I would kind of forget for maybe a
week or so, and then I would jump back on and try to use it. But I just wanted to share that with you because I feel like that's part of the process when you're utilizing things like this at home. Sometimes we stick it in a drawer because we have company coming over, and the next thing you know, we forgot about something for a week and a half, you know, and we do that a lot of times. You know, others of us can put it on our schedule and have it next to our bed and use it super faithfully. My brain just doesn't always operate that way. So I do want you to know I used it consistently over a 6-month period. Did I say like clockwork every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday? No. But I feel like I used it enough to see if there were benefits or not, and also to see if it was going to fit into my lifestyle, which is the biggest thing, and to see all of the other side effects or, you know, any drawbacks to it, which I'll discuss right after this. So let's just show you ahead of time. Again, natural light. So I'm just going to show you if I open my curtains, it's going to change things. So I'm trying really hard to give you guys as realistic of a view as I can and not blow out my face, because that's kind of part of the problem as well, is lighting can change everything. Obviously, I don't feel like it affects wrinkles that much, to be honest with you. Nothing on my face other than my normal skincare. Nothing is tinted. This is what I call my driver's side face. So this obviously has much more signs of aging than the other side of my face because of being in the car all the time. So I don't feel like much has changed here. You know, this is obviously like a loss of melanin, I believe it's called. This is just like a mole I've always had. These spots kind of, I believe this one's a mole, not sure what's going on here. This is where I felt like my, I guess would be melasma spots would pop in once I would use the mask, if I would use it consistently. I feel like I'd look in the mirror and I'd see this much more pronounced. And this is, you know, kind of problematic because I don't feel like it was as strong before. Didn't really do too much to pores. These are from my glasses. I wear glasses constantly. That's a scar, so there's nothing really going to be done too much about that. I kind of hoped it would, but it didn't. And that is, I can't really tell if it's more like, I'm really not sure, to be honest with you. Probably like more of just an age spot. What I was doing just as consistently as my face is every time I would use my mask for 10 minutes, I would take it off and then place it on my leg for 10 minutes to see if the scar changed at all and see if it lightened it up or just made any beneficial changes, because I've heard infrared lights can help with scarring. So based on this scar right here and the scar on my leg, I did not see any changes.
Here is the scar itself. So definitely not. Nothing has changed in that capacity.
All right, as you can see, this is packed back up. I kept everything in pristine condition and I sanitized it at all times. It's going somewhere. It's not staying in my house. Not sure what that's going to look like, if the return policy is still effective or not, because it's been 6 months. And then if not, I may have to pass it on to somebody else. So there are 3 main reasons as to why I am not using the OMNILUX anymore and why I don't think it worked for me. So again, I'm not a professional. This is just a personal opinion, and it's based on some very specific things to like my body and my makeup. The first reason being I could not handle the light in my eyes. So I tried everything. I realized very quickly that this is not a mask that I can put on and walk around. You see a lot of people like doing the dishes or taking care of things while they're wearing it. I could not do that because the red lights in my eyes were just way too strong. Now, this particular mask, there are others that are made a little differently. This one does not have the like protection around your eyes, and as tight as you can get it, it still does not protect from light going in your eyes. I'm not here to talk about whether that's beneficial or negative, like the light itself going to your eyes. I just know that I couldn't handle it. So I had to have my eyes closed at all times when I used it, and I still could not physically handle it at all. And by like minute 7 or 8, I was just like counting the seconds until I could rip this thing off. And then after the fact, when I was opening my eyes again after I took it off, I felt like my vision was impaired, and it just really kind of scared me. I hate that feeling. But I will say, I have very bright, like kind of blue eyes. They are very light sensitive. So again, this is a personal problem, and I did discuss it with my dermatologist, and her like
nurses. They all use the exact same mask, but they all have dark brown eyes. They did say around minute 9 or so that it bothered them too, but not to the degree that it was bothering me. So in an effort to try to make it work no matter what, I went to a tanning salon and I actually bought these little, do you remember these guys back in the day in the tanning booths? I bought some because they're very little, lightweight, and I tried to squeeze them like underneath my mask. Well, first of all, they're not the most comfortable with the mask strapped to your face. However, they still didn't block enough light for me. So I did give it the old college try and it still didn't work. The second reason being, I think it was exacerbating some melasma on my face. Now, I didn't feel like I had a ton of melasma. You can kind of rewind if you want and look at my before pictures, but I did have a few minor spots. But what I noticed is when I was using this faithfully, after day like 2 or 3, I would notice like, whoa, what are these brown spots on my face here? Like, what's going on? And I was having to cover them more with more makeup. And that was an issue that I didn't have previous to using this. And then it would kind of calm down a little bit if I stopped using the mask. And then if I kind of got faithful again and used it, then I would see it pop up again. So I do not want any more aging spots on my face. And so I have to say this, again, not a professional here, but I did do a little bit of internet research and it did say that near infrared light, the NIR, is not great for melasma, and this does have NIR in it. So there are other masks and other light forms they say that help benefit melasma. That just doesn't seem to be one of them. So again, I didn't know that going into this. I do not want to exacerbate any melasma on my face. The last reason is not really a big deal for a lot of people, but for me, it just became a chore time-wise. It's a minimum of 10 minutes on your face. Because I couldn't open my eyes, that means I had to be like laying down, sitting up, whatever, with my eyes closed, uncomfortable with the little eyeballs on, and just counting the seconds until it was over. And that just isn't enjoyable to me. And I'm just at a phase in my life where if I don't love the experience, then unless it's like going to be like so beneficial to my life, then it's not really worth it to me if it's just something that may or not help. So that was a problem for me. And then because I was testing it on my leg scar as well, then that added another 10 minutes to the situation. And I also could not move because I had to lay it carefully on my leg. So that was a minimum of 20 minutes out of each and every day of mine that I literally could not do anything else. I would just basically either try to listen to a podcast or pray or do other things. But again, with the light in my eyeballs, that's all I could focus on. And it was really hard to even focus on anything else. So I hope this video helps. Again, this can be so beneficial and helpful to so many people. And my own dermatologist use it. But for me personally, it just doesn't cut it. All right, thanks again for watching. I appreciate your time. Let us know in the comments below. Have you tried these masks? Which ones have worked for you? Which ones haven't? Do you think the benefits outweigh the kind of pain in the butt part of it? Let us know. We'd really appreciate it. And until next time, I'll see you soon.